Tearaway. Scientists fed up with cabinet as Boris turned back on their advices and let COVID roar. Boris Johnson has refused to cave to demands for more lockdown measures, saying there was not enough data to support such action. The decision to hold back on introducing extra rules came after England's Chief Medical Officer Chris Whitty and Government Chief Scientific Advisor Sir Patrick Vallance provided an update to ministers on the latest data about Omicron. Sir Patrick was originally set to brief backbench MPs but was forced to cancel the Zoom meeting to give an update to the Cabinet. The mutant variant is rapidly spreading through the UK with an additional 8,044 cases reported today. There are around 100 people in hospital infected with the strain at present. Mr. Johnson said while there would be no immediate change to restrictions, he said the government reserves the possibility of taking further action if the data made it clear that further intervention was necessary. We have got cases of Omicron surging across the country now. We have got hospital admissions rising quite steeply in London, and the obvious conclusion is that it was right to go fast with Plan B in the way that we did, and also right to double the speed of the booster rollout. In view of the balance of risks and uncertainties, particularly around the infection, hospitalization rate of Omicron, how many people does Omicron put in hospital, and some other uncertainties to do with the severity, the effectiveness and so on, we agreed that we should keep the data from now on under constant review. The Prime Minister said the arguments for taking action in the face of the spread of Omicron were very, very finely balanced. He added, "Unfortunately, I must say to people that we will have to reserve the possibility of taking further action to protect the public, to protect public health, to protect our NHS." In a stark warning a fourth national lockdown could be imposed, he said he would rule nothing out. Ministers are hoping the accelerated rollout of booster jabs will help prevent the need for any long-term restrictions being introduced. While 2 doses of a COVID vaccine offers minimal safeguards against Omicron, a third injection is thought to give more than 70% protection. Mr. Johnson has set the ambitious target of offering a third jab to all eligible UK adults by the end of the month. So far almost 29 million adults have received a booster, with 846,466 Britons getting their third jab yesterday. More than 1 million vaccines a day will need to be administered between now and December 31st if the target is to be met. The government has promised to give MPs, who are currently on their Christmas break, a vote before any new legal restrictions are introduced. The House of Commons must be given 48 hours notice before a recall of MPs for emergency debates and votes. Mr. Johnson's decision not to go ahead with further restrictions after the Cabinet meeting today means it is now very unlikely more measures will be introduced until after December 25th. One source admitted that guidelines, rather than formal restrictions, were entirely possible in the coming days. But scientists have called for new restrictions to be brought in as soon as possible to prevent the health service being overwhelmed. The SAGE Committee of Advisors has cautioned that hospitalizations could peak at between 3,000 and 10,000 a day unless urgent action is taken. Under the plans on the table, households would be banned from mixing socially indoors, and outdoor gatherings limited to the rule of 6 or 2 households. Bars, pubs and restaurants would be closed indoors and restricted to table service for those serving alcohol. Foreign holidays would be banned, although travel abroad for legally permitted reasons would still be allowed. Mr. Johnson is in a precarious position with Tory MPs after almost 100 rebelled over new COVID measures last week. Senior Tory MP Mark Harper, who chairs the COVID recovery group, said, "Not telling the public what's going on is unacceptable. These are big decisions affecting everyone's lives, people's livelihoods and mental well-being across the country.